All right, so I want to talk about closing and share with you 3 things that can help your closing. These are things that are simple to do. They aren't things that require skill or learning as such. They are things that you can do straight away, and you probably already have this innate in you. And when it comes to closing, I mean, I'm asked every day about what's the best way to close, and the answer is often that it depends on what you're selling and things like that. But to a fair degree, there are some fundamentals that you've got to bear in mind. So here are 3 things that a recent client that I've been working with shared with me when he closed his first client. So he got his first piece of business, and there are 3 things in there that really stood out as simple things that made him move to win as opposed to it being another rejection. The first thing was trust. There was a connection there in terms of the person he was speaking to buying into him, not just the hype around the product. Now, many people are great at marketing, many people are good at building hype, and certainly they can build excitement about a product, but unless someone buys into you and trusts you, they're never gonna step forward and say, I'm gonna take out my wallet and give you some money because I believe that it will be a sound investment. Unless they believe in you and trust that you're a good guy, basically. So you've got that connection on a higher level than just you have something that could be of use. It's never really going to fly, and it's the moments when it's like, shall I, shan't I, and they're sitting on a fence. If the connection's there and the trust's there, they're more inclined to fall in the right side of the fence than the wrong. And it makes it a lot easier for you to then give them a nudge if you need to, just give them that extra bit of reason to buy from you. So basically the first thing to bear in mind is that having a connection and buy-in, and it doesn't have to be before you get on a call or have your meeting, it can be built during the call, but relating with someone to build rapport and have a connection is essential. The second thing, excuse me, is qualification. Now, one of the reasons why this client of mine closed this piece of business wasn't just that they had a good connection, but also that this client was right in principle. So on paper, there was every reason for him to work with him. So what we're looking at here is things you can do and have therefore control over before even getting into the sales call or meeting. Things that you can look for when you're looking at your leads to make sure that you're in a position to win. In his case, he was looking for someone who buys a certain type of product, and so evidence of buying that type of product means that those kind of people are more likely to buy his type of product. And you can observe that from afar before you even move to a place where you get on the phone or engage with them, and by seeing the kind of things they're into, maybe on Facebook or something like that. The fact that this guy, was on the phone with a prospect, and that person then was led by quite simple questioning to be asked, so what kind of things have you invested in? And he said, yeah, I invest in things like this all the time. It was a great platform to firstly give the person selling some confidence. It was also a great place to basically build on and say, look, you obviously invest in yourself and you believe in this kind of thing, so here's some more of the same, but here's the great reasons why. Bottom line is this: if you look at the opposite, if you look at a situation where someone has never bought your kind of product, it's not always a reason why they won't buy from you, but it does make it a bit more difficult. And the way to look at it is this: the person who was sold here had been sold numerous times in the past. People have gone to work with them successfully and convinced them of the benefit of buying these kinds of products. So for my client doing the selling, he already had a bit of a leg up, really. So what you've got here firstly is connection to build trust, but you've also got pre-qualification. And you can further check that when you're on the phone with them as well. But qualification to make sure that that person is the kind of person who tends to buy your kind of thing. That makes life a lot easier. And then the final thing as well is probably one of the most powerful things when it came to the negotiation at the end. My client was talking about how this prospect was saying no a little bit and was a bit on the fence. And the reason why I think, in addition to what I've already said, he was keen on actually buying in the very end and decided to go ahead and do it, was simply because, at the very least, the person doing the selling was willing to walk away from the deal. And what that does is that it demonstrates to the person you're selling to that it's not about making money, it's not about closing something as the reason why you're having the call. It's more about finding something you can help them with and focusing on the solution, the relationship, and building a service that they can make use of and benefit from. So what I'm saying here is focus on showing them how they're going to win by working with you, the solutions, the benefits, and things like that. Don't focus on trying to do everything you possibly can to close them, at least not outwardly. Because if they feel that it's all about you trying to close a deal, then they feel simultaneously it's not about you trying to help them. And that's what they actually care about. They don't care about you getting your deal, they care about their problems being solved. So the willingness, at least to appear like you're willing to walk away from the deal, meant that it didn't appear to the prospect like, you know, this is all about this piece of business, I have to get this thing closed. It was a case of, well, look, if you feel like this can help you, there's the value. We've talked about how this will fulfill your needs, and it's now up to you. And it's funny because the client was talking to me afterwards and saying, you know, I was so keen on getting this piece of business in, but what I decided to do was just kind of let him go from there. And that only works if you've got rapport and connection. That only works, of course, if you pre-qualified the lead, so you know that the need is there in the first place, or at least the receptivity is there. But the end result was that you've got a guy who almost decided to sell himself, because there wasn't like this desperation to close something. Sure, there's a hunger to help, but that's a difference. And the end result is brilliant, because you get a guy then who's not just bought a product, but who has bought a product from someone they feel a connection with, who they trust, who sells a product that they feel they need because they've invested in that kind of thing in the past, and importantly, who's bought a product from someone they feel is interested in the service that's being offered here, rather than just closing a deal. And there are three things there that really help. So think about that: connection, pre-qualification and qualification, and being willing to walk away from the deal so you don't come across as desperate. I really hope that helps. But in terms of closing, it's not for everyone, for every type of piece of business or every type of sale, but they're three important things when it comes to a sales meeting or a phone call. So I hope that helps. If you like this video, subscribe for sure, but also give me a thumbs up, give me a comment as well, other things that may have helped you. But otherwise, I really hope that helps, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.